I just discovered a crazy trick to get infinite bedrock end portals in 1.20 Minecraft. Watch the video to the end so you don't miss out on a big discovery that I made. Hello there, Ray here, and it all started when I got comments saying that their end portals seemed to be lower than normal in 1.20. I then spent tens of hours to figure out all the crazy tricks which I'm going to show to you today. Thank you everyone who stopped by those live streams, especially Shuttery and Jazzy, who were able to give more insight into what happened. So first thing you want to do is come to the end dimension and make sure you have an ender dragon that is flying around your main end island. It can either be the first one or one that you summoned in. You'll want to do this in a version before 1.20. So I'm in version 1.19.4. Then what we're going to do is save the game and update it to 1.20. Now once we update to 1.20, even 1.20.1 works, we then will load in the world. Now the world is loaded, just go ahead and place a endstone block just above the end portal. And now you can continue the dragon fight by killing the dragon. Now that once the dragon has died, the portal is then placed on top of the previous one. So you just have duplicated the end portal. This was also our first dragon kill, so we got the dragon's egg. And the height of the actual portal blocks are the exact same height of where we placed in that endstone. The portal generated around it, placing in the endstone that it also places in along with all of the bedrock and even the torches. And because of its location, it ended up actually cutting off a bit of the previous portal's bedrock. As normally just above the torches here, there's supposed to be one more bedrock. Otherwise, our previous exit end portal is completely here, except for the actual portal blocks. And if you would want to summon in the dragon once again, this portal down here is no longer recognized by the game, so it won't actually summon in the dragon, because this portal here is now the area within the code that the game thinks that the portal should be, and therefore is the area where it will check to see if it should summon in a dragon with enough ender crystals. If you decide to kill the dragon without actually putting in any endstone, the portal will be placed down a bit lower, creating this bedrock prison here. And if you would go inside of this by going into crouching mode, once you get inside of it, you are now stuck in this crazy looking bedrock cage where you can see out, but you can't actually get out. You can use this bedrock cage to trick your friends into getting stuck, or you can turn it into your base, as well as house different mobs in it. Now you can also move this portal up as high as you want. I'd recommend using some block that the dragon can't break, like obsidian or endstone or iron bars or crying obsidian, but you just need one of these blocks as high as you want it to form. Then when you kill the dragon, it will use that block to place the portal at. Now we have this portal at the same height as these obsidian pillars. But if you decide to put the block at the very top of the world, when you go ahead and kill the dragon, it's going to try to place the portal way up here. And because it can't place any blocks above the build limit, it's actually going to cut those off and make this bullseye looking portal. Now in the past, I did already discover how you can move your portal up and down, which I show in this video here, which actually still works in 1.20. So you could actually move your original portal up or down without actually having to upgrade your world like this trick uses. And in that video I also showed that you can move your portal way down into the void. But let's see what would happen if we do it with this trick. Now there is a few different ways you could break this bedrock here in survival. I have a whole playlist about bedrock breaking in survival. Check it out if you want to see what method will work best for you. So let's kill it with no blocks underneath of it, and you can see portal gets placed at the lowest possible point, which means half of it is actually in the void and doesn't generate, so you just end up with the pillar with the egg on it. This is one way to soft lock your games so you're not able to actually see the end credits. These are also technically bedrock breaking methods, as they did remove the bedrock on the lower piece, as well as up in the air remove the bedrock on the upper piece. And if you go ahead and place 2 blocks above the end portal, when you kill the dragon, the portal is going to be up a little bit higher, which makes a big enough area to summon in a wither inside of this area here, but it cannot actually get out. So you can see the wither is 3.5 blocks tall, and the area that's inside of it is 4 blocks. So with this, you can see the wither is stuck inside. So those of you guys that have trouble following my wither tutorials, which I have about 40 of them in this playlist, you can go for this completely bedrock wither cage. The wither definitely can't get out unless you do some bedrock breaking. Finding bedrock like this in survival is normally not possible because in the overworld as well as the nether dimension, bedrock is only 5 deep in the bottom or the top of the world. But for this, you actually need the bedrock to be 6 deep to have a bedrock both above as well as below the wither. You also just made yourself a very deadly turret that's trying to kill you constantly. This would be one way to keep the players away from leaving the end dimension. And you could also use this wither to eventually destroy the entire end island, well at least the majority of it, as it probably wouldn't be able to shoot the blocks underneath of it. You can see the blue wither skulls can actually destroy really hard blocks and even can destroy the obsidian. And I have used withers in the past to make perimeters, which I did in this video here. Although the process is extremely slow and the wither skulls can pile up in unloaded chunks. You can also do some other cool stuff by breaking some bedrock. So I'll show you just one way which I use to break bedrock. Just have a bunch of dirt around the piston. We got a TNT over here. And underneath of the piston, we want to place in a obsidian. And we're going to click up against this obsidian. I also kept the dragon up out of our way by just putting some blocks up there which you can't destroy. And then we're going to blow up the TNT and try placing our own piston right on this area right here. So we have to unbud this piston, and then we also have to ignite this TNT, and I'll do this in survival. Stand here, spam click here super fast, and you can see that actually will destroy the bedrock in survival. Many more bedrock breaking setups in this video here, which I'll link below. So if we use a bedrock breaking to break that one as well as this one, then when we kill the ender dragon, it's going to place our portal right on top of the previous one. So if we come over here and look, we can see that instead of just having a single layer of bedrock, we actually got 2 layers of bedrock here. And by removing the end stone, you can see it looks extra thick. So if we don't break that one, but instead break this top bedrock here, then when the dragon dies, it'll place the new end portal right on top of the old end portal, which looks kind of strange, but what it actually made is a bedrock vault. If we go inside, we can see that there is a little teeny crawl space that is completely encased in bedrock. Now I showed how bedrock vaults are possible in survival in this video here, but this one you can actually construct instead of having to find it naturally. It's also quite big, so you can store a lot of your stuff inside of here and have yourself like a secret base. And the way you can get into your secret base is by hopping into the boat that's underneath of it, then getting out, and then when you're in here like this, throw an ender pearl, and then you'll be in the crawling mode. And to get out, you just hop into one of your boats and then exit it. You can see there is actually a portal right above us. So if we jump up, we will exit through the end portal. But you can actually get infinite end portals. This is by downgrading once again. So let's go ahead and get the dragon up in the air. Each time you do this, you need to make sure to switch versions while there is actually a dragon flying around. So with the dragon resummon, we are currently in version 1.20, and now we just need to save it and load the world in 1.19. Now whenever you upgrade or downgrade your world, it's important that you make a copy of it, especially when downgrading because it's not recommended and can often run into some issues, such as like all your 1.20 related stuff would vanish. Now you might be able to avoid this just by not loading certain chunks, but keep in mind that spawn chunks will load when you enter your world, even if you're in a different dimension. But if you do this trick before getting all that 1.20 stuff, you should be fine. Now loaded up in 1.19, if we kill the ender dragon, you can see it stacked another portal on top of the previous. Then we can repeat the process, remembering each time to summon in the dragon before upgrading or downgrading. Now before you go crazy and start making tons of end portals, there's one thing you need to keep in mind, and that is when you start getting multiple portals. So if we kill the dragon, it's going to place the new portal on top of this end stone here, but now we have a portal here, and we have a portal here. And if you've seen my trick video way back in a 1.9 snapshot, you'll know that the game doesn't like it when it sees an old portal when it's trying to generate a new portal. So if I would come in here and try to summon in the dragon, what the game is going to do is check for any other potential bedrock portals around the main island and convert them to endstone. So watch when I place in this last crystal right here, that portal right there gets converted from bedrock over into endstone, and that's exactly what happened to this one down here as well. And the game does this so that you don't end up with your 1.8 portal as well as a new 1.9 portal in the center. But I did show some ways that you can get around this, and we can use those same tricks on this so we can keep our portals. So what you'll want to do is when you get 2 portals, before you summon the dragon in again, this one's considered the official one, so it won't convert this one to endstone. But if you want to stop this one from getting destroyed, what you'll need to do is remove some bedrock block within it so the game doesn't recognize it as being the fountain. So now when you come in to resummon the dragon, it doesn't recognize that one and it won't convert it to endstone. Now this could be a cool way to get unlimited amounts of endstone, but I already actually have 2 really cool endstone farms, which I'll link down in the description, and is part of my Farm Everything series where I've designed an automatic farm for every item in the game of Minecraft. When it comes to having multiple portals, you could do some of the cool tricks I showed before. One of the coolest things you can do is get a solid block of bedrock. You could do this by removing this bedrock here and then placing in an endstone. Then when the dragon dies, the portal is going to be placed in just above the previous one, so now it's too thick. And then we can go ahead and repeat the process of summoning the dragon in and changing versions. And now that we switch versions, we can go ahead and also remove this bedrock and place in the end stone. Then when we kill the dragon, it will stack another portal on top of it. So now we have a 3 thick bedrock. This is solid bedrock in here. Having a big chunk of bedrock is really cool, but you can also carve a house inside of it or whatever you want inside of the bedrock. In order to do this, you will actually have to carve out this floor here while the dragon is still flying around. That's because during the summoning process, it will just replace the bedrock, and after you kill the dragon, it's going to place in some new. So what we're going to do is remove that block and place in this end stone. That way, the next time we kill the dragon, it's going to move the whole bedrock thing up by 1 block. Then we're also going to come in here and carve out this. We can use the bedrock breaking methods to remove all of these blocks. And if these other blocks get in the way, you can remove them. But you can make a 3x3 hole in here. So now when we kill the dragon, it places a new set of bedrock on top and our 3x3 hole is there. So then if we just continue to repeat this process by carving out the floor so that it connects up with the previous one, and eventually we can get ourselves a little box which is completely hollow inside, all done in vanilla survival. Now you could also use the solid bedrock to summon a wither so it would immediately get summoned and suffocate with inside of it. But this can actually already be done just with a normal portal by putting in a T-shaped wither that's just 2 blocks underneath of the bedrock portal frame. Now when the wither is summoned in, it's 3.5 blocks tall and it has 1.5 blocks up here, meaning that its head and its suffocation point is inside of this bedrock where it will suffocate to death, and all the wither skulls that it shoots off from its main head or side heads are immediately destroyed as they hit the bedrock. And this will automatically kill the wither over time, or you can help it out by coming in here with the sword and whacking at it. And I discovered a unique bedrock formation which lets you automate the process of killing withers. And you can even get some mobs inside of your little bedrock block, like putting a wither inside. That's because when you summon it, it's going to put the rest of its body inside of it. And if you come inside, the wither will come out of the bedrock and get stuck inside of the bedrock house. And if you're patient, you can also make a solid bedrock wither cage. In this case here, he's being held underneath with bedrock so people can't easily let him loose. He's also being held in on all 4 sides with these bedrock. His head's not suffocating, so you don't have to worry about healing him because there is actually air here. But he's being held down by not this bedrock. This one's actually stopping his main head from shooting people. But this bedrock here is preventing him from flying up and escaping. And then the outside ring is preventing his side heads, no matter which way they're facing, to stop them from shooting wither skulls, as they will randomly do that when he's bored. Wither cages have a variety of uses, from using them to automatically break cobblestone without using TNT, or like basalt, or even putting like obsidian converter here. When TNT duping is eventually fixed, witherstone cobble farms would be the next best thing. And you can even make wither tree farms. You could also use this trapped wither to make wither rose farms. You could also rename withers as a cool prank or just as like a message board at the top of the screen. If you held a bunch of these withers in the bedrock, you can make one of my peaceful mob switches, although my ones with shulkers as well as villager zombies are easier to do. Now this is currently the only way you can get infinite amounts of bedrock repeatedly, as the previous method that I showed with using gateway portals where you could stack them on top of each other eventually got fixed. Now this trick will not get you a new 12,000 XP dragon or another dragon egg like the trick I showed in the past. Now so far, every time we've been doing one of these tricks, the portal has slowly been moving up and up and up in the air. But that means that your portal, which you need to leave the end dimension, is going to end up being really high and you'd have to fly up there every time to actually reach it. But I did find a way to actually move the portal back down again. So the way it works is when it tries to place in portal, it kind of ignores all this bedrock here and it just keeps looking for the first air block underneath of the bedrock, which is right here, and this is where it's going to place in the portal. So this portal here actually got moved down, and notice when we do summon in the dragon, the game will actually notice these bedrock here and try to convert them to endstone. So after switching versions again, if we killed this dragon, notice that the portal got placed down right where the first air was. Now it is slowly destroying the bedrock stuff that we created, but we are moving the portal back down again. But there's a way to actually move the portal all the way back down without really destroying too much of the bedrock formations that you have in between. This is because the game kind of ignores the bedrock. If you don't have blocks between the top and the bottom or any air, but instead just have solid bedrock pillar, either by coming in here, placing in bedrock if you obtain the bedrock items, or if you were strategic and remember to leave in the bedrock pillar as you're building up your stacked portals. So with the pillar filled in with bedrock and switching versions once again, when we killed this dragon, notice that the portal gets placed down low once again. Now once the portal gets placed down low, you can come back in and remove the bedrock that you had to leave in so you can build those wither cages once again, or you can even come in and potentially fix your bedrock house, or you might just have to leave the pillar in the center of it. But what would probably be better is if you started building your portal at the very bottom of the world and then slowly built this whole thing full of bedrock with all your different types of contraptions. That way by the time you get to the top here, you can easily have your portal at its normal location while still having all your bedrock formations and not have to worry about putting in this bedrock pillar. Please let me know if you have any other cool ideas which we can do with this, or if you have any further questions, ask them in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed because I'm going to be doing a second part to this video where I'm going to go into detail on how you can actually get the portals to come along with them. So if you haven't updated to 1.20 yet, make sure you guys stick around and watch the second video before doing so, and how you can actually do this even if you're already updated to 1.20. I found tons of other crazy stuff in Minecraft which I showed in this playlist here. Let your favorite Minecrafters know about this trick, and credit raise works. If you ever come across something strange, be sure to message me. Thanks to everyone who hit the subscribe button as we reach another milestone of 375,000. Let's try to reach a goal of 500,000, and I will see you in part 2. Bye bye.